Yep.
All right. Welcome, everyone. We are ready to call the meeting to order. Today is Monday, May 5th, 2025. It is 5:30. Are there any public comments from the floor? If not, we can go to item number 3, approval of previous minutes from the regular meeting of April 7th, 2025. These had previously been emailed out in the packet by Dan last week. Did anybody have any questions?
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jason.
Jason Wells,
Yes.
Valerie Duncan,
Yes.
Phil Nichols,
Yes.
and Mineka Gibbs.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right, that brings us to item number 4, HPC application number 25-13, discussion and potential action on request for certificate of appropriateness for new Guthrie Arts Center, projecting sign from building located at 316 South Division. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The building is, as indicated, South Division 316. It's just down the street here. The Guthrie Art Center is going to be moving into that building. There's an existing bracket there for a projecting sign, so they're in to get approval for a projecting sign that will be a total of 4 square feet. The black and white version, if you want to say, is kind of the version because they're going to have it kind of a metal or aluminum looking one, not the colored one. But the applicant is here if you have any questions.
Okay, could the applicant please come up to the podium?
Evening, Ben.
Hello, Ben, how are you?
Oh, well, thank you.
Great. Okay, so you did bring in 2 renderings, and Dan had stated the black and white version are going to be for your projecting sign.
Yes.
Are you then going to have anything on your windows that's going to be in the color?
Not at this time, no.
Just not right now?
No, that's probably more for like shirts or things that we do
Okay,
advertising.
okay.
Yeah.
So the only signage that you're going to ask for today is just a projecting sign, nothing for on the windows, on the door, nothing like that?
No, that's correct, just the black and white.
So I just wanted to go ahead and approve art for the building if that was going to happen anywhere other than the projecting sign itself.
Just the projecting signs, all we're gonna do.
Okay. Those are the questions that I had. Did anybody else have any other questions?
I think so.
No, I think this is a great idea. I'm really excited.
Thank you.
I have a little one that's way into art today. He made something out of Scotch tape and popsicle sticks. He still doesn't know what it is, but he's still at it after school, 2 hours later. So I appreciate it. I think this is going to be great, much larger space
Yep.
for this, and I'm excited. When do you guys anticipate opening?
We're open now.
Are you open right now?
Yeah.
I saw
Nice.
some things in the front, so
Yep.
that's exciting.
Started last week.
Great, thank you.
Thanks,
All
Ben.
right, thanks.
All right, can I get a motion to approve?
I'd make a motion that we approve as applied for.
Thank you, Phil.
I'll second.
Nathan. Jason Wells,
Yes.
Nathan Turner,
Yes.
Valerie Duncan,
Yes.
Phil Nichols.
Yes.
And Mineka Gibbs.
Yes.
All right.
All right, this is number 5, HPC application number 25-14, discussion and potential action or request for certificate of appropriateness for new canopy on the front facade and window signage for building located at 108 East Oklahoma Avenue. Staff report, please.
There we go. Oops. Another exciting one in the sense that a building's getting fixed up and looking really good. As indicated, this is at 10 East Oklahoma. Back in 2024, they had approval to have the front facade rebuilt with some upper windows, and as you can see from the picture, they're moving along quite well with that. The current application is to get approval for a canopy. That wasn't part of the original rendering, and also the signage on the original rendering was going to be like with a flower block box with bricks. Now they're just going to have it as a regular facade sign, which is shown there, and then they're going to have a few smaller signs on the window. So that is the request at hand, and as you see, the applicant is here if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. This building looks great.
Thank you.
You guys have really done a fantastic job restoring the
I
facade
appreciate
of this building. And I know it could not have been an easy task at all.
Yes. We didn't know what we were going to find under it when we tore the original one off either, so. that
Right.
was-
And also coming through and making sure that that was not real glass under there. We really do appreciate you working with the commission on the front of your building. I
Yeah.
hope that it has been a good process for you guys. And I'm looking forward to your new business coming in here.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions in regards to your signage. I like it. I think that it works for whatever you decide to transcend Happy Foods and stick to sandwiches and espresso and drinks, or, you know, can be utilized in any way you want to transform your business. We're happy to have you guys.
Right, yeah, the sign that's gonna be painted on the brick, we wanted to kind of resemble the old grocery store look, because
Yeah.
it was a grocery store during the Depression, and there's several businesses in town that have that look. And then the bottom will be hand painted, so we're excited too. I appreciate it. I like your new tattoos, Adam.
I have toddlers,
Yeah,
and I let my daughter
Sure,
draw
blame it on
me.
the toddlers, Adam. Blame it on the toddlers.
I didn't think that through, letting her draw me today.
I do have a,
It does
I
look
do have
like
a question. I do have a question.
yes, sir.
How many sandwich options are you guys gonna have?
Right now, too many. I
good.
have two full pages that I'm gonna narrow down for opening and have weekly specials.
Very good, very good.
Yes.
Well, congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Really.
Austin, thanks for working on your building.
Thank you.
I mean, it's
Yeah, you
refreshing.
sit there
You're there
a lot.
like every day.
Yes.
I really appreciate it, guys.
This looks great. Are there any other questions? I'm excited to see that this sign is going to be hand painted. We have a lot of them that are older on the sides of buildings, you know, and we see it a lot now. It's just definitely decoration. So I'm excited to see this as a painted sign versus aluminum or metal.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll second.
We were waiting on a motion.
Yep.
I'll motion.
Second.
Sorry, I thought, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
Jason
sorry,
Wells?
and
Yes.
as well as the awning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not
yeah.
address the awning. Yeah, the awning does fit within the. scope.
Oh, yeah, because it's going to be a
Sorry.
black canvas, yes.
Yes.
Yep. Jason Wells,
Yes.
Nathan Turner,
Yes.
Valerie Duncan,
Yes.
Phil Nichols.
Yes.
And Mineka Gibbs.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you again.
All right, item number 6, HPC application number 25005, discussion and potential action on a request for certificate of appropriateness for the public pocket park at the intersection of Oklahoma and Wentz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will defer to Shonda Rooney, who will go over the project. I will just add, as you see, hopefully we provided all the information that the commission was looking for between the site plan as well as some other information. If needed, I did print out large copies of the site plans or development plans just in case somebody needed to see it a little bit better, but with that, I'll hand it over to Shonda.
Yes, first I want to bring you all these turf samples that I have over here, so I don't have to carry them around anymore. I'll talk more about this once I get back. Sorry.
No, I'm just
We'll
joking.
get
I'm
it
just,
this
I don't know.
And these are the filament options right here. I'll let y'all. My recommendation in those turf samples is going to be the smaller square patch. That's the multi-surface Play Pro. It includes a lighter colored pad underneath it. There won't be any of the black crumb rubber included, so hopefully that will cut down on any heat transfer. There's 2 different filament options there. We can also just use sand to help, again, cut down on the heat and help with the padding and the natural looking surface. That particular turf is my recommendation just because I think it looks the most natural. It
Say
has,
this one said, I'm sorry.
yes,
Okay.
yep. It has 4 color variations and looks the most natural to the eye.
So I did also have this turf conversation with I call him turf specialist maybe. He's 9. And he plays on turf, multiple sports and or at different parks and places. And my first question is to him was, what happens whenever you run and you fall on AstroTurf? And he said, well, you get a turf burn. And they're not comfortable and they do hurt. So I do want you to keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be a sport. It can be playing on it too, you know.
Yeah.
Those are uncomfortable and they do hurt. It's
Yeah.
not like when you fall on grass and you get like just a grass stain on your knee. Yes, that hurts too, but it's not the same feeling.
Yeah, and I think that something that will help with that particular turf, that is formulated for playgrounds. It includes that pad underneath it that is essentially foam, whereas a lot of the sport turfs include that crumb rubber, which I've played on it as well whenever I played softball, and my legs would get torn up whenever I would slide and things, and that crumb rubber will tear up your legs,
That
but
was the second one. I don't want rubber pellets in my shoes.
yeah.
I said, well, she's not gonna put rubber pellets in.
Yeah, no rubber pellets
That
in this
was
particular
already
type
a
of turf.
negative, right?
Well, if we had regular grass, we might get stickers.
Yeah, and I
It's an
mean,
imperfect world.
It is
again,
softer than concrete.
yes,
It's an
and
imperfect world.
with wear and tear, more than likely the grass would end up turning into dirt and pebbles and things like that, which would be uncomfortable as well, but
Look, the projected, this already has plenty of gravel and dirt out there for the size.
and I am
For
also
bringing these.
just particular to the presentation and information. I'm happy to answer any other questions you have. I'm not gonna run through the entire proposal because I know that,
No, you spent a lot of time answering every question we did ask for you to answer from the last meeting.
Yeah.
And that is really appreciated.
I know another concern was the size of the planters. My recommendation was the barrel planters because that is something that just fits the aesthetic of the area because it's featured in the shops and in the wander-in patio area. But I did bring some other options if you wanted to look at them, some concrete options that kind of match the larger rectangular planters that are featured throughout the downtown area if y'all wanted to take a look at those as well.
Okay.
I'll just say I like the barrel planters.
Yeah, I do
as well.
too.
I think that the aesthetic's already there. You know,
Yeah.
we just keep with that, and then when somebody hops the curb and smashes one of the concrete ones, you know, they're not having a bad day.
Yeah.
It's not mad.
I like the size of them too. I appreciate you giving us all the dimensions. 12 by 12, I think that really tightens that space up when you consider the size of the activity lawn. I like that. I like with the picnic benches sitting there. I think the whole thing comes together.
So just your pricing here, it includes also demolition and removing, because you're gonna be removing and adding in a portion of that sidewalk area that currently has a curb and everything. You're gonna be pulling that out. And so all of this includes removing everything, and adding in a full new pull-in for the curb for your trucks.
Yes, ma'am. It's all of the tear out of the existing concrete curbs and the paving inside the parking lot and then reinstalling the new surfaces.
Which one of the AstroTurf did you say you were going to use?
It's the multi-surface play, the one that Mineka has in her hand. It's specialized for playgrounds, additional padding, and to stay cooler. It's antibacterial and UV resistant and several other perks.
I'll be honest, the only detail that I don't like about this plan is the AstroTurf. I think that I don't think with as small an area as we're talking about, that grass would be that hard to maintain.
Yeah, I don't think that the maintenance would be, I mean, I'm confident that our Public Works would be able to handle the maintenance of it, but my concern more with the AstroTurf, with the wear and tear, is that we're messing with ADA accessibility whenever we're including natural surfaces like that. Anytime it rains, if people are scooting their chairs and their tables around, because we want it to be used for events, the farmer's market and things like that, we want people to be bringing in tents, bringing in chairs, moving things around. The more we do that, we mess with ADA accessibility, we mess with the appearance. If we want it to be nice looking, steady, stable grass that people can access with wheelchairs or strollers or whatever else, I think it's just easier to guarantee that if we use turf.
Well, again, I understand your argument, and I don't disagree with you, but I also think that this will set a precedence. And I don't know, we ask people to come to Guthrie to see the historical city and enjoy those things, and we give them AstroTurf. I'm just going to say I don't like that part of the plan.
And we are, I mean, as far as moving tents and moving tables around and things around like that, I did stop at and visit with Chef Jimmy, who is a shop owner in one of these as well. And I did ask him about the gravel that is currently out there. He does say it does get muddy. It is tracks into their shops a lot. It is hard to keep up with. It is a little bit frustrating for them. He loves being there. He wants to bring as many people to Guthrie as possible.
Yeah.
If there was a way to have a little less of that gravel, even on their side, would be better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like having a footprint of, I would also prefer grass, as this is downtown.
Yeah.
We didn't have AstroTurf and, you know, then, and I don't think that this space is too large to maintain grass. As much activity that it does get, generally all of the tents are set up along the outside on these gravel paths. And so the wear and tear, I could see it would happen just as much as it does running through the park at Mineral Wells or at Highland, and we still have grass there.
Yeah.
In those areas and spaces. I like the sizes that you have proposed here. In regards to the flower beds, I'm really grateful to have those here. And thank you to Mr. Chappell for providing all of that. I too am having a hard time with the grass itself, or with that area, to approve AstroTurf there. I would actually like to see something mirrored on the other side as well to break up some of that concrete. Just talking to Chef Jimmy, I also saw kids pick up gravel, throw it around, you know, and it's one of those where you have to stop, don't do that, which is going to happen anywhere.
And I will say, just on the gravel issue, we did notice that becoming an issue at the shop. So something that we're going to do to combat that in both areas is we are bringing in a solvent. It's like a rubber glue pour over surface that you spray over the gravel to keep it all solid. It keeps it from coming apart. That's what we're going to introduce for this project in both areas, so that the gravel is no longer going to be loose and throwable and kickable and everything else.
That will be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They'll be able to answer some more questions on this particular issue.
Yes, I'd like to just add, as coming from the public works side of things and seeing some of the things, working with Shonda, kind of putting this project together, just to add a little bit to, while we're on kind of the turf and the gravel, maybe a suggestion would be we add some fresh to the current pop-up shop area. That's something that hasn't been done since it's been constructed. So that might be something that we look at, is maybe adding a little bit of fresh to that. We are exploring the option of taking a product, it's an adhesive product that would bind all of that. I've used it at my own house on some rock surfaces, works very well. It's a clear surface, brings everything together and holds it together fairly well. As far as the turf goes, some of the things from our standpoint that we've looked at and tried to keep in consideration is when our guys go in and mow, we don't have the push mowers. We've got riding mowers. We don't have baggers on them. We don't have the mulch style mowers. It's putting it right back down. It's going to blow it. So anywhere that the grass gets blowed, it's going to go out onto the gravel area, most likely have seeds or something in it that's then going to be a fight for us down the road. Also maintaining an area to this such, we've really found out even with just Banner Park, the more congested areas, we've got a lot of amenities in Banner Park. Finding those times when kids aren't on those parks to where, say the splash pad's open, we're having to get there real early to be able to mow that area to prevent maybe chunking a rock over here on the splash pad or getting grass blown over onto where the walking trails is or the playground that's over here. It's challenging from times to time to maintain these areas, and we kind of felt like this is the same thing. You get down there in a small area and you're trying to maintain it. We don't have the push behind mowers with the baggers and stuff to maintain a small area of grass, and that's kind of where you'd want to maintain this. You'd probably want to bag that and pick it up and get it out of the area. On the planters, just to kind of touch a little bit about that was kind of some of the suggestions I had with Shonda was some of the things that I've liked about these things. When we start putting in the bigger planters, we've experienced seeing around various places where kids will then, you'll see, want to get up on it and run around the edges of them. Over time, you're breaking off maybe, depending on the make of the planter, the top board or something gets broke off or something like that, or they become a bench. People come up, want to sit on the top, they're drinking a soda, whatever, they set that down. I've seen it a lot of times where that trash then just remains there. That's not as apt to happen when we've got these smaller type planter boxes. Just a few of the key points that we've looked at coming from our standpoint as we've worked with Shonda.
So,
Those are great points. I mean, the crushed granite is like a fertilizer. You drop seeds in it, it'll grow absolutely anything.
Yeah.
I've had it around gardens before, and
Well,
my best stuff grows in it.
even whenever I was out there, I mean, there were some weeds out there, but I mean, it's not like you can't just pull it up if you're standing there right next to a shop. Pull it up, it's not like, you know.
Grass,
Unless
yeah.
No, it was not Bermuda grass. I also agree, because I fight that in my own flower beds, but, push mowers with baggers are really not that expensive. Is that something that could be put in this budget to have, or is it stretched completely?
I mean, I'm sure could be explored. Anything can be explored as far as the options go, so I'm sure we could explore that option. We just don't have it at the current time. Our smallest mower is a 4-foot riding mower, and we use it at the cemetery. So another point to this whole project I think that's important to think about is we're also pretty much this entire site will be turned into pervious surface where currently it's not. It's a hard surface asphalt parking lot that creates a lot of water runoff, something that's not thought about from very many. And this area specifically, we receive is probably one of our lowest areas in town, and it receives a lot of runoff, so it would help in that aspect as well.
And it's surrounded by concrete, so what kind of grass are you really going to grow there? It would have to be something hardy, which would be Bermuda, which is only going to be green partial throughout the year, right?
Correct.
And then if it starts spreading, it's going to spread through that crushed granite, and it's going to be, yeah.
Well, I would imagine you'd have to put some sort of border there anyways. Even when you put AstroTurf down, it's got to be bordered.
We would. I think in the project it calls out for a concrete border edger around it. We'd go in and we'd tape the seams of the sod or the AstroTurf, or even if it was the regular grass sod. We'd stake it down. It'd all be done per standards, whether it was your basic sod or your turf. But it would all be outlined with a concrete border. I believe it's in the plans.
Yeah.
So, just a few key points I wanted to share coming from the public works side of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I do think it's important we listen to what Tenny has to say. It's his crew that's going to be responsible to maintain this. It's none of us. And I think Jason brings up some really good points on as far as, what will happen with live grass. I personally am satisfied with the options been brought in as a solution. And I personally also see the value of having that without the live grass. I think there's a lot of problems that come with live grass in that area.
There's live grass behind the buildings. It's grown rather high right now.
Well, there's weeds behind the building, yeah.
Yeah,
There's both.
I'm city engineer. I just want to add that I work for a lot of cities, and I see what Public Works goes through. like, mowing tank yards, booster yards, all the different things, the right-of-ways. I know this is a small area, but I really believe that with the foot traffic we're going to have there, having grass, natural grass, I think it's going to get worn down. I think during a wet period, it's going to be a loblolly over time. I think it's, I mean, my suggestion would be do something like this. It's not going to, it wasn't used in 1893 or 92. It wasn't used in 1910, whatever. But I think overall we have to, maybe adjust to what people are doing now. And, like your son said, or I believe your son, as far as falling, there's not enough room for someone to even really build up a lot of acceleration and get hurt there. I just think it's going to create just a problem for Public Works. And how are we going to keep it irrigated? If we don't irrigate it, or someone come down there and water it all the time, then it's definitely going to, in August, it's not good. It's not going to make it. So I don't know. I would just suggest that if you all could see fit to letting them do something like that, it'd be positive for the community. And it's not going to look bad. It's going to look really nice. Most people won't be able to, they're not going to drive down the street or walk down the street and wonder what the heck's going on? Why did you allow that?
Now, Bill, I did also ask for the turf that also allows for natural grass to grow in it. A sample of what that looks like, because there is a hybrid of turf natural grass as well.
Yeah.
Bill, will you expand on your design and how we got to this? Yeah. With your landscape architect on site.
So we have So I'm an engineer, obviously, but we have on staff, we have one of our technicians has her degree in landscape architecture. She has one more test to take and she'll be licensed. But nevertheless, she helped us with some of the nomenclature and the drawing aesthetics, so to speak. So I don't know. I think I like the idea of the gravel, and I like what you were talking about, putting some type of a coating on the gravel to keep it from, maybe, keep it non-friable. And I like, that was nice. I think some of the dimensions, you can tell, like the grass area is basically 19.5 feet by about 50 feet. And then we also have in the center, we haven't determined exactly what to put there. Either, tables with umbrellas, something of that nature. Then we have the planters in the corners. So I think the planters are going to help aesthetically. And I don't know. I just think that we got to think about maintenance costs.
So I did
over time.
also, and I also asked if there was a way that we could include utilizing some of our historic brick that we had and maybe adding brick pathways. There was no change to any of this at all, other than we asked for footages.
Yeah, I don't know about the brick pathways.
So those are those things that I did ask. Could maybe we break up some of this gravel? Because there is a lot. Now we'll have two lots together, mud pits when it rains. It doesn't matter how much glue you stick on a surface that is gravel, it's not going to stick around.
So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't know about what your thought was there, but.
So that was another question that I asked, maybe to break up some of this brown, maybe with some materials we already have.
What does the drainage look like on this? I mean, is it slope from one direction to the other? Is there any grade at all?
We haven't set the final grades on it,
Okay.
for sure, but we want it to go obviously to the street,
Yeah.
if we can. And again, we haven't set any final grades, but we have new infrastructure we're building on the street,
We are for
new
the
storm
ADA
sewer.
pathways. And that grades will help too.
What?
Bill, naturally, I mean, if we go off of, I can share, I mean, you normally run 6-inch curb down through your standard curb 6 inches, and if you relate to the area in its existing state, it's pretty well flat. It's going to drain towards the street, towards the intersection. That intersection, again, I will share is our lowest point, other than half a block down, there's an alleyway that has a divot in it down through there, next to I still refer to it as the POW building, but that intersection is the lowest point in our infrastructure of downtown, and every bit of our runoff comes towards that area. And we do have existing infrastructure in that area underground. every bit of that's going to shed towards that way, but it's relatively flat throughout that whole area. So it's not a drastic slope area that's going to run, wash any of the rock or anything of that.
Would you have like a larger aggregate as a base for this, or would you just go all in?
You know, on the actual structural part of everything, I haven't really got to that. This is more on the aesthetic, on the surface. We want you to
Okay.
see that. I do know, like on the, on the sidewalk, we're going to use our standard sidewalk we've been using, and on the, where the trucks are going to park, that's more like a paving section.
Yeah.
And we haven't decided on the curb and gutter whether we're going to use maybe a monolithic curb, or we're going to do a 24-inch, like a combined curb and gutter. Haven't decided that yet.
I'm just wondering, like, if you end up having to do the real grass, you're gonna have to water it, like you said.
Somebody's gotta
It's gonna have
water
to be some sort of irrigation.
Well, in Oklahoma, grass is dead 2 to 3 seasons of the year.
Yeah. Well, when you,
I mean-
and then you can't control, unless you do put sensors out to control the amount of
Right.
moisture that ends up getting deployed, right? And then that stuff settles, but when it settles, if it settles into the granite, then yeah, you are gonna have a massive.
I think in a perfect world, everybody'd love to have grass, but I think it's gonna turn into again, I'm gonna refer to the guys that actually deal with this stuff, a real problem.
But that's our job here, is to.
I understand.
look at this
I understand that's our job. I also understand it's our job to look at it from a holistic approach and not just one where we say this is how it has to absolutely be. I agree, natural grass would be great. I agree with that. But if it's not doable, then I don't think it's appropriate for us to act like the whole project's not gonna work because we don't do natural grass.
And I don't think anybody is making.
I'm
that
just stating my
statement up
opinion.
here.
I'm just stating my opinion.
But I
I'm
will
just stating my
say
opinion.
that natural grass is doable. It certainly won't be as easy to maintain, and there are issues with it. But this argument has been made before, that it's cheaper to do something, and that's the way we do it now. And we still don't approve those things in the historic district of Guthrie. Just because it's easier, doesn't make it the perfect option for this historic landmark district.
I think there's other reasons than just because it's easier. I think those have been stated.
Well,
Now, we are also this is one of the intersection sidewalks we are redoing, correct? Yes. Okay, and were you hoping to do all of this at the same time? As far as that sidewalk, moving the sidewalk and coming in?
Ideally, we would find a way to make it all work together.
I would hope so. So that's why I'm asking, because if you're already going to be redoing this drain that's already over here, and the curb, and the ADA accessibility right here, that you would also move to do this portion then?
We're up against the clock on this.
No, I see that as far as 10% needs to be started by the end of the month, but that's 10%. So we can still discuss the middle portion.
I would like to maybe try to answer your question, Maneka, on the bricks that you had. I wasn't aware of anything pertaining to bricks was in question. And then maybe have you re-asked your question one more time, if I could maybe help answer your question on the base or what's underneath the product. But I would hope that we would have our sidewalk done and complete prior to the intersection project even starting. I would hope. We would really, at least the main concrete portion, prior to us getting inside and starting to really start doing some of the inside portions. But that main sidewalk piece through there, I would like to have done prior to the contractor mobilizing. That way he comes and joins us. That would be my goal.
That's all in a perfect world.
Yes.
Facing water leaks.
Correct.
Yes, as well, that was the other.
Correct.
Keep in mind.
That would be my goal, and yes,
So
city manager,
another,
absolutely correct, so.
the city match for this, is that coming out of the parks budget?
It's basically in-kind labor, so meaning in-kind labor is basically a mix of street department and parks department personnel. So really, as far as funding wise, there's not that much funding that's going to be coming out. It's just current employees, their salary, using their salaries as our in-kind labor. That's city's match going towards that grant. On the bricks, one thing that I would say, if that was explored, even if the brick was explored, just in the area that the granite is being looked at, that would definitely change the budget of the project, having a contractor come in, because our staff would definitely not have time to come in and hand lay the amount of bricks that it would take to put in there.
Oh, no, I wasn't meaning to replace all of the area.
Oh, okay.
It was just like maybe a path around it
Okay.
to eliminate the amount of gravel. Just because the adjoining lot is full gravel,
Sure.
I foresee that being so much brown in 2 lots. And I know we're trying to look at this as 1 lot and a second lot, but it's like buildings. It's a building attached to a building, which what was there. So when you're looking at it, now it looks like a large brown gravel lot with 4 trees, a pavilion, and pop-up shops. And a little patch of green grass. If you're looking at it aerially, you're not looking at 2 separate lots then, because now it'll look like one.
Sure.
So that was what my
I see.
thought process was, and we already had the historic brick material, so that was just something aesthetically to look at, and also to break up some of this brown,
Okay.
and to bring in more historic element into the middle of this area.
Okay, yeah, again, I wasn't familiar with any of the brick thing, and I took it as if maybe we were talking about the whole area. I knew that would change the budget
No, that's a
lot.
lot, that's a lot of laying, and that's a lot of
Yeah.
time, energy, yeah.
Basing those numbers just off of like our streetscape project downtown when we had the alleyways put back with brick
Yes.
and stuff, seeing those numbers and knowing what
That's a
they
lot.
would be, it would drive the cost of our budget up on this very high.
Yes.
What was your question again on the?
I was really just thinking about different types of size of aggregate underneath the crushed granite if you were thinking about doing that.
So what we did next door, our staff did that as well. We laid a, what I refer to as Petromat down. We did a compacted subgrade, a natural subgrade, compacted in there, and then we laid a Petromat down, and we put just the aggregate on top of the Petromat.
Oh, okay.
Works very well. We use it on roads as well. That's heavily traveled. Our new wastewater treatment plant road, matter of fact, was the last one we did it on. Rolled out Petromat, put the aggregate base on it. It prevents that aggregate from then sinking and continuing to settle in your subsurface.
Yeah. So at the parks, I mean, what does it look like around the play areas? Does the grass stay full? Does it stay fresh all the time, or is it looks like animal trails?
So I think a good example would be in our parks. Our parks are large. We've got some very large parks. When you get the splash pad, for an example, at Banner Park, I might refer to that a little bit, where kids are really heavily traveled. There's a lot of water there from time to time when that splash pad gets splashed out over it, and it becomes several spots in that park becomes mud holes. We have to go back and fill in areas. Anytime you have to fill in areas, then you're dealt with mud there until grass takes over. Another area that I can refer to as maybe your sports fields, and soccer for one just coming to mind. Anytime, any activity in one specific area, say your goals, if a sports team is running the same play over and over on a field, it's natural grass out there, and that's the first area that's going to wear. It becomes dirt, that grass becomes dormant, especially in dormant seasons. It just does not withhold up to that, the wear that it takes.
Traffic. Yep.
The traffic. And I think during events and things of that nature, and the more activity we hope to gain to this area, that'll just be a continued fight that we'll have.
It'll be an eyesore, right? That's my fear, right? I mean, because whatever you put in the middle of this thing, people will find.
It's going to stand out.
Yeah.
So,
No matter.
sorry,
how
I
much-
was just trying to help answer questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do want to add with the brick, I did look into maybe doing the flower beds at least built up in brick, but again, with this being the grant that we're getting through Main Street, we are only working with 50 grand, and 25 of that is coming from the city of Guthrie, so we don't have a ton of room to work with doing masonry right now. But if one of the concerns too is there just being a lot of brown with the gravel, perhaps once we get to the end of the project, we can look at maybe doing like concrete pavers as pathways around the activity lawn, if that might be something that we're able to fit into the budget at the end and would possibly help with that. There are some other options there, but just given the budget constraints and, yeah, that was one of the reasons why the brick wasn't going to end up working out for this time in the project.
And this is a pocket park too. It's not like you've got 50 acres of whatever, green grass. It's in the middle of the city.
And I agree that, turf for a downtown area is, it's not what everyone prefers because grass is beautiful, grass is natural. It's what people tend to prefer, but you are seeing turf pop up a lot more in nice downtown areas. Oklahoma City, Edmond, they're featuring it more and more. And we didn't have it in the Victorian era, but we also didn't have vehicles and stoplights and everything else. So there have been a lot of progress and all of that, but I don't think that it would retract aesthetically from the project if it did end up being a turf. And I could even look into some more, color options if that's a concern.
I appreciate the thoroughness and what the information you guys have provided tonight. I really do. And I like the options you gave us for turf. I think you gave us good this is what I was worried about. That just looks terrible. Some of the other ones look much more natural. So.
Shorter.
Yeah.
Yes, you have animal.
Yeah. A little easier to clean.
So, I did get a lot of, about irrigation and things, but you do have to water flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You do have a way to water.
Yes, we have a spigot out in the center by the pavilion area, and we'll just attach a hose and walk around and water the various flower beds and planters.
Not grass.
I think that park is a great idea, and you have done so much work, and I also appreciate that. But I'll have to be honest, as long as we're going with the AstroTurf, I'm going to have to no on this.
That had been a question previously.
I thought Jeff had already asked if we'd already approved the trees.
Yeah, it was a question whenever I originally presented it, but then when we went through the part about how it had already been approved by them before, we were good.
This was part of the trees that Jeff had already asked to plant downtown. Yes, and we had.
The Joe Chapel.
Yeah, Joe, sorry, that Joe had already asked, and we had already approved those trees to come. Yep. Yeah. So I didn't have any questions about the trees. I guess, are there any other questions?
I'd make a motion that we approve as presented.
I'll second.
Jason Wells,
Yes.
Nathan Turner,
Yes.
Valerie Duncan,
No?
Phil Nichols,
Yes.
Mineka Gibbs.
No with AstroTurf. Yes on design, so no.
Okay, still passes 3-2.
Yep.
Thank
you
y'all.
very much for your guys' time.
Thank you, guys.
All right, this brings us up to number 7, HPC application number 25-007, discussion and potential action on a request for the approval of a minimum maintenance plan for building located at 202 West Harrison, which is the Victor Building. Staff report.
These items, given the lack of attendance by the applicant, it's going to make it pretty easy. The applicant was supposed to be here to provide the additional information that was requested at the last Historic Preservation Commission meeting. The applicant had not been in contact with me. I did send him an email even after the meeting summarizing everything that took place and the items that are on the agenda tonight that he was supposed to bring additional information for.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how you all would want to proceed.
Well, I think if we look at these one at a time, I believe on this, he was supposed to provide us with a plan of replacement for windows.
Yes, because in the staff report I did on each of them summarize in there what was the applicant, what he was to provide, because each one of them was a little bit different. The first one, like you said, which is the Victor Building, he was gonna have basically the windows analyzed and bring in kind of what the condition of those were, and then kind of a prioritization of the windows that would need to be fixed, or the areas that would need to be fixed sooner than later, type of thing. In that. And like I said, I didn't receive any communication from him whatsoever.
As he did state that he was going to have his window contractor come and review each
Yes.
one of these buildings.
Yes, because just like the old fire station, he was going to have the engineering analysis, or at
Yes.
least a preliminary engineering analysis for that, because that was going to be the basis for the time frame and what the minimum maintenance plan will entail.
So Dan, what are our options? When somebody no-shows and does nothing and,
I believe it's our job to put a plan in place.
okay.
Yeah, or I could just start issuing citations on a daily basis until it becomes financially feasible for him to show up.
I think we could do both.
Okay.
I mean, we're responsible for these buildings. I understand we don't own them.
If the owner doesn't take care of it, we sure are.
Exactly, and he hasn't for a very long time. And our city can't afford to lose these buildings. So, as far as it goes with the Victor Building, the north facade those windows are crumbling. Those Oral Bay windows are crumbling completely.
They're in bad shape.
They're in very bad shape. You can visibly see it. It looks terrible. Those need to be replaced. And the front of that building needs to be painted, and all of that wood needs to be,
You're talking about the bay window?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just drove by today, it's horrible.
Yep, it is terrible. It looks awful.
Yeah, most of the woodwork on that
all-
north side, whether it's the frames of the windows or, like you said, the bay windows, you can see significant rotting.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
gone.
it's gone.
That needs to be replaced.
The north side of what? The Victor?
The
Yeah,
Victor.
I'm sorry, it would be the south side.
South
Yeah,
side.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
It's
you're
the
right.
south side
Yeah, south
facing
side.
north.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was gonna say, looking at it, you'd be looking north,
Looking north.
but yeah,
Looking
the
north.
south side, yeah, the portion that faces Harrison. On First Street, there's some windows, but the worst portion is definitely on Harrison.
Well, I think that's a good place to start. It's the front of the building.
Yeah, I mean, I think at a minimum, what's listed here from my perspective is fair and reasonable. The fact that there's been no response and a no-show, I think stands on its own.
It does.
right?
Yes, sir.
And so, whatever we do it, then I'm not one that takes lightly to this kind of stuff. I really believe people's personal properties are personal property, but I
Agreed.
agree with you, we have a complete responsibility with these buildings. And I don't think we have a choice but to use every means possible to motivate him to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, and I will tell you that, our normal code enforcement process, communication goes a long way.
Yeah.
We have many a times where we'll send somebody a letter, and they will come in and talk with us, and the same thing, we'll work on a time frame, and we even tell them then, especially if it's a bigger issue, as long as you're making progress and showing progress, we'll continue to work with you, communicate with us, and, that process in the end usually results in some very positive outcomes. However, we do have the ones that completely ignore anything we communicate to them, and usually the only thing that motivates them is when they get a citation or a court date.
What's the citation look like? Is that
It's $255
Per day.
per day if you issued it. Every citation issued is $255.
so would your
That
citation?
includes court costs, because I think the actual fee is $175, and then it's like $85 or $80 for the court costs.
So are the citations based on each item that's discussed?
Yes.
Okay.
It could be for each, and then we're allowed to issue a citation for every day that there's, non-compliance.
Wow.
I think the most we've ever issued on consecutive days is probably 4.
It's just disappointing there's no response.
It is very
I
disappointing.
Very
can't
disappointed.
disagree
Because
with
I
you.
believe we were very
Yeah.
fair.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we tried to be very fair.
Yes.
In our meeting with Mr. Ladd, to
Yes.
move forward and to work with him on a plan to move forward and not put it in our hands, but to put it in his hands.
Yes.
So that he could control the scenario in which he spent the money.
Yes, and he even talked to me after the meeting about, coming to see me and contacting me, and as I indicated, I had not received any contact, whether it was coming in the office, phone call, or email.
Was the Bluebell property not one of them on our list?
That one, we had decided on the minimum maintenance plan that he.
We gave him.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right, we gave him
Yeah,
6 months.
because the three
right,
that were
that's right.
on there were the ones that were
Okay,
continued
that's
for
right.
additional
Yeah,
information.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that was the one we told him, go for it. And he had the 6 months, the 3 months to get the basics, or the top parts there,
Right.
and 6 months to complete it all.
Doesn't appear he started anything on that yet.
I had not seen anything myself either.
I've seen someone working on.
Oh, is there?
On the
Okay.
west side.
Yeah,
There was,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
But I don't, that was for about a week and then nothing, so.
Yeah, yeah. And on these other buildings, I did not see anything.
Did his investment stuff work out? Or
I have not heard. Yeah, I do not know anything about that at
I
this
just want
point.
to say too, I'm not saying this to like toot my own horn or anything, but since that meeting, my wife and I decided to replace 500 feet of trim on the depot. And we rented a lift, hired a company, and have already completed that since that meeting on my own building. Like, I'm just saying, like,
No, and.
if you want to do it, you'll get it done.
Yeah, and
You know,
to add
like-
to that, that's kind of a good point, because there have been some other building owners in the downtown or in the district that have contacted me, because they're like, oh, are you gonna put my building on there? When's my building gonna be, and this and that? And I said, well, they could eventually. I said, obviously, you can start with some minimum maintenance of your own, and if it takes care of the issues, then we don't have to worry about it. And so a couple of those, I've been in communication where they're looking to move forward in that, and they're not significant, but obviously, like you said, there's still things that need to be done. I've been communicating with Mr. Wood on his building to get the windows taken care of and get replaced, and a couple others. Some of them might have to come back here due to different materials that they're going to use, but it has kind of, got the word spread that, the ones that want to do it or that can. And down the road, obviously, it's not going to require them to come here.
I think there's part of it is too, and we all know this, and I have no firsthand knowledge of Mr. Ladd's financial position. I think we can all make assumptions, but you can go do those things if you have the money.
I'm not rich.
I'm not talking about you, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you can take care of maintenance things if you have the money.
Yes.
And I think it's a combination, many times when people don't do it, it's a combination of money and desire.
Right.
Right?
I think that's where you got to be careful too, like,
Right.
you don't want to take and leverage something with a greater leverage on him than
Correct.
somebody else, right?
I agree with
If you're
that.
going to do it,
I agree
probably
with
ought to be across the board.
Gotta be
in my
consistent in
opinion,
everything we do.
I get, there's a bit of a history there,
Yeah.
but if you've got other buildings that are in downtown, in my opinion, if I'm in his shoes, and granted, again, there's a history, but if you leverage me for every citation that I've got on my buildings, but the guy down the street, his place is still falling apart and no citations
Doing
for that
nothing
guy
with
yet.
them, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, that's probably not a good scenario.
Well, I mean, again, I'm the child on this committee, so I'm learning every week, but, we've got to do everything with consistency. It's just like on with the city's project, the last meeting, we didn't have enough information, so we asked them to come back. I think that was the right decision. We can always have disagreements on what it should look like or what
Yes.
the outcome should be, and that's fine, that'll happen. But I think on this, when somebody just blatantly doesn't communicate and acts like the rules don't apply to them, that's a different thing.
It is a different thing.
I
And
mean-
I do also think, again, this was a very fair plan.
Yeah.
we did only ask for, since that last meeting, for him to bring back information. The same thing that we did with the city. It
Right,
wasn't
correct.
that we even asked him to do anything yet on the rest of these buildings. We asked him to bring the information from the contractor he already stated he had was coming, to bring that information to us so we could then put together a plan for the rest of these buildings, knowing that he had investors ready and to look at the Bluebell as well.
Yeah.
Also symbolically, look at that last meeting though. Jason, if I remember correctly, was the first person on that, on the chopping block to go, or to get up there and like, on the hot seat.
Very embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, or the hot
Did a
seat.
great job in
I mean,
the hot
somebody
seat.
on this commission with the building was on the hot seat first before somebody else.
And
That
the other
shows
thing
you-
that happened is within a few days of that, they were working
They
on
were
the building.
working on the building,
Right.
yes.
Well, what, okay,
the
let's
other real
just,
difference.
let's just pull the curtain back. Why do you think I went to my building after that?
Sure,
meeting? And got the thing done?
Sure.
I was like literally going like, oh my gosh.
I guess what I don't know too,
They're gonna go look at my building. So I went down there, I was like, we're doing it all. I'm
so
like, we
this is coming completely from a place of ignorance on my part, but so if we set a minimum maintenance plan on this, and let's say that we wake up in 2 weeks and Larry's not the owner of those buildings.
The
Anymore.
maintenance plan applies to the building, the property.
Correct, that's what
Not
I
him.
assumed, but I wanted to be sure
No,
about
yeah,
that.
no, that's correct. Yeah, because it's just
Which would
like,
be a good thing.
It would be
Yeah.
a good thing. And it's
it-
on record for the new owner to have.
Right.
yeah, because it's like a land use permit, like a special use
Yeah.
permit or something like that. It goes with the land, not the
I
ownership.
assumed that was
Yeah.
it, but I didn't know for sure, but I think that's a good thing for us to do that.
Yes, sir. It essentially puts everyone on notice that
Yeah.
there is a minimum maintenance.
Like having a
plan.
lien or something, right?
Yes,
Yep,
yes, sir,
yep,
yes,
yep.
sir. I would have to say to look at this one item, and we're looking at the Victor Building right now, I would
leave it as it is.
I would like to say, I would like for personally that he have this front of this building addressed. And I don't think 60 days is too long to ask for the south side of the building facing north as a starting point.
Are you saying just you saying all windows and bay window? Or are you saying just
Basically.
or everything that's on the south side?
Just this Oriole bay windows, this facing, if you're looking at the building north.
So
at
go
the
off
front,
this for me, Manek, I'm
If I'm
sorry.
on this one right here. Just on this,
It says facing, on
the Oriole bay windows, that's where I'm looking at.
Facing northwest.
The entrance.
Facing northwest.
There we
Facing
go. I
northwest.
got her now. Thank you.
Yes, sorry. So,
And the metal trim in the front door?
yes,
Well, yeah, because I was going to say it could essentially be summed up that anything that needs maintenance on that side needs to be taken care of, whether it's the window frames, whether it's
Yeah.
the bay windows,
Yeah.
any of that, which he listed most, but, summarize it with that, the windows, the bay areas, the doors, the whole 9 yards.
yes, but I think concentrating that in a time period, instead of saying everything, if we concentrate on one area.
No, I meant on that side of the building.
Yes.
Everything on that side of the
Yes.
building, yeah.
Just on
Yeah.
the facing northwest,
Yeah,
right?
right, yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
So the
I like
facing
that.
northwest portion of the building, I think if we break it up and we have them replace everything anything that is rotten and everything that needs to be replaced
Yeah.
on the building. I've personally seen him go out with a can of spray foam and spray it in cracks of windows and then go out and scrape it off and paint over it. I'm not going to see that. I don't want to see that. I want
Is that code, Dan?
No.
I
For the record, no.
watch him
I'm sure
do
it's coming
that
somewhere.
Yeah,
on
in
the
the county.
Lynx building. So,
But 60 days?
60
Yeah.
days.
Everybody good with that?
60 days.
Because, and I don't want to speak for the
And
commission.
this is an area you can specifically see. Everyone can see it.
Right. I don't want to speak for the commission, but I assume what we're going
Yeah,
to
that's a
do
good
is
point.
obviously set the parameters of what needs to be done for each of these in the time frame. And then at that point, if he doesn't come in to show progress or want more time
Then-
or doesn't do it, then we'll start the citations.
Well, real
Yes.
progress though, right?
No, you're right.
Real
Yeah, because what I'm
progress.
saying is, yeah, if nothing's done in 60 days, then we're going to go
Yeah.
full citation.
Because I've seen people go put up scaffolding
Yeah, yeah.
and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
working on it. Yeah, and it's just, it looks pretty.
Well,
but
they-
it's not-
10 years later.
Jason brought up a good point. He'd have to get approval on materials, right?
No, not if he's replacing what they have.
Okay, so there
Yeah.
won't be a lull where he's
No,
gonna lose some of
no.
that 60-day waiting
Yeah,
for.
because the same thing, if you have a wood window and you're replacing it
Okay.
with wood, you're good to go. Same
So
with
60
brickwork.
days is a
Yeah.
full 60
Yeah.
days.
So as long as he's like for like, no color changes, then he's,
Right, exactly,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you said, same color, same everything. 'Cause
Well, and minimum
obviously,
maintenance
that's
is just
why,
same
you know,
thing.
yeah, it's the
Yeah,
maintenance
that's all they
part,
can do, right?
Yes.
in that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, that's something that's
Oh, yeah,
allowed by
right.
code, we're just in
Yep.
situations
I think
where
that's
people
fair.
aren't doing it.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to get them to get a plan and push it forward.
Do we have to make a motion and all that on this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Boy, I can't remember what you said. I liked it, but I can't remember.
No, yeah, if you want to the picture or the portion that's along Harrison that would be facing north, that'd be the actual south side of the building, that all the necessary maintenance there, windows, doors, bay windows, all that, must be completed within 60 days.
oh, this is on the the facing.
Yeah,
north.
just
Face
right now,
north.
yeah,
Just the
just
facing
that.
northwest.
Yeah, just the
Northwest.
facing north.
Just the
Yep.
facing
Northwest.
northwest.
Oh, yeah, northwest as the
Yeah,
corner.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
As in
yeah.
the
I was like,
corner,
man, that's-
right
yeah.
when you're walking into
was
the
a lot of
building.
That's a job.
Yeah.
So the entire building is giant, but I think at least since he's not going to be here and give us his own plan,
Right.
we can start here.
Agreed.
It's a start.
But yeah, again, so I'll make sure, and
Yep.
I apologize for my direction. I'm usually not directionally challenged, but yeah, basically that
Yeah.
full portion that goes from bottom to top, that's kind of on that corner there.
Yeah.
All the, two large bay windows, doors, all that, and that's what we're looking at for the 60-day, correct?
The angled part.
Yeah, the angled part for the
The
60
angled.
days. Okay, got it.
Thank you, Valerie.
Yep, yeah, exactly, thank you.
That's what we've been
Okay.
looking for.
Yes, that's the motion.
Yes, that is, and I got it.
Second,
Well, who made the motion?
I make a motion that we give them 60 days.
Okay.
And the Oriole bay window, metal trim, and front door needs to be inspected, repaired, repainted. Metal trim has paint that's chipped, faded. That trim should be inspected, properly sealed, then it should be painted. And the front door needs to be refinished within 60 days.
Okay, now to stop on that real quick. Since he didn't provide the inspection and from the outside we can see visibly it needs to be, we've inspected it here today. It needs repaired, repainted.
Yep.
So we're gonna remove inspected from all of that.
That works for me.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sorry, Phil.
right.
No,
It-
I'm glad you cut, that's,
Yeah.
you're right, you're right.
The inspection part will essentially come after he says he's done. So
Right.
we can go and say, no, that is not adequate, or yes, it is, or
Okay.
that type of thing.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
though. If we're allowing 60 days for this work
Uh-huh.
to be completed, what if Mr. Lads decides to start repairs on the 59th day?
Well, they have to be
It
completed
has
by
to
the
be completed
60th.
by
Yeah.
the 60th.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be up for a long
It-
time and
yeah.
have a bunch of guys.
Yeah. And that's the
No, that's a
thing,
good
like,
point.
Yes.
yeah, because as I said, in other cases, we have that situation where they literally wait till the last day or last couple days and then want forgiveness. And in a nice way, we say, sorry, that's not going to work anymore. It'd be the same here. Obviously, if within the next couple weeks he starts and he's showing, good progress to where, even halfway or more, and he needs just a little bit more time, have him come back here and request, an additional week or 2 or 3. But yeah, at that point, it can, if he starts the last day, you can consider that as non-compliant.
And just so I'm clear again, then it'll be 250 or whatever, what happens?
255 total, but yeah, we would issue a citation in that, and that would, again, the fine would be 255. It would require him to go to a court date. Usually, we do not, once it goes to court, request that it be, what's the word I'm looking for? Because a lot of times if they have compliance and it goes to court, then we say that's fine, just pay court costs because the issue is been resolved. But if it hasn't, then they have to pay. The other issue is if he pays, we still have to get him compliant. So that's where, again, additional citations may come in, because we have some that'll do that where they'll just go pay the citation and think the issue goes away. It's like, no, it doesn't go away.
But it's daily, right?
But yeah, we can do it daily.
Yeah.
Normally, what we do is start with an initial citation in that, and let that go, and again, it could result in.
So let's
more.
say this all happens, if
Yeah.
I'm just, help me
Yeah.
understand. He doesn't do the work, we're issuing citations, keeps going, where's the end? What's the end?
That's the hard part. No, I mean, that's the hard part, because, you know, obviously, we don't have the ability to, you know, take over. Sure. Whether it's ownership, the project, or whatever. As I said, the only thing that could probably be done is to issue enough citations in that to, between the payment of those, court and all that, it starts to become a priority to them. But that's the thing is there's no strong-willed way for us to absolutely ensure it gets done.
What if they don't pay?
You get a warrant, yeah. Yeah, because any citation that, if you don't show up for court and don't pay it, yeah, you'll get a warrant. Yeah,
So I
a
do
municipal
believe-
warrant.
Can't the city do the work on some of these areas that are looking horrendous, if that is a possibility? And then the owner is responsible and will have to pay it. And there's a lien put on their property.
Can't get blood out of a turnip.
Well, yeah, because I would have to look into that, to be honest with you, because there is an abatement process in the code, just like, for instance, if somebody has tall grass, and we give them notice and that, and they choose not to, usually we just go right to the abatement process. We don't give a citation. We have our mowing crew and then we send them a bill. And then they got 30 days to pay it. And if they don't pay it, then it goes as a lien on the property. However, in this case, it's a much different situation, so that same law or ability doesn't apply to us to go physically work on or change the, you know, building. There may be a process, I don't know, I don't want to say, because that's where the legal people come in. But the normal abatement process is, again, for that, just like if somebody has, you know, a bunch of branches or accumulation of material, we can have that hauled off and build them, but I don't know a situation where we would go and physically fix a building without us owning it and then build them. The same with the demolition, which obviously we don't want to do, but when we have a dilapidated structures, it's the same thing.
Well, that's
If-
what we're trying not to.
No, that's what I
Get
mean,
used to
right.
Dilapidated structures.
Right, well, no, right, and, you know.
Fire station.
That's why I said we
know.
don't want it to get to that, but in those cases, it's the same thing. We can abate the nuisance by tearing down the structure, and then we bill them, and there they got 6 months, but if they don't pay, it goes as a lien. But again, we don't take ownership of the property.
Is there any, what would it take to change that? Is that a state thing? Is that a
Yeah,
state
I
law?
would, yeah, because all of that's out of state law, and that's why I was saying is it would probably take a change at the state level. Because just like the whole vacant building thing that came about and looking at a vacant building ordinance and that, the reason we didn't move forward with that is because it's prohibited by state law. State law says you can have a registry, but you can't have any type of penalty or that even through a code enforcement process to say that's a vacant building, and because it's vacant, we can, you know, issue you citations. In this case, it's different because we're talking about minimum maintenance and lack thereof, so we still have an avenue through the ordinance to do citations. But we couldn't do any type of citation strictly because it's vacant.
Right, but some of these, I mean, even in our last meeting, you know, we had a roofing company go up there, and there's significant damage.
Yes.
And, you know, even Mr. Covington spoke that these roofs are well beyond their repair.
Yep.
You know, and all that does is hinder the structure or integrity of every building, even
Right.
if that is not addressed.
So what's dangerous about that is if you put a roofing contractor and inspected every roof up and down the historical area, I think most of them that
Well,
have
yes.
are gonna, and then you're starting to pick winners and losers based on that. I
Well,
mean,
no, I'm just looking at them from these perspective. These
Right.
buildings are empty, you know, and.
no, I understand, but I'm just saying,
But to kind of answer your question, you know, that will eventually happen through this process is we're hoping to get to each building. You know, again, as we're talking in that, a lot of, there's buildings like these that have a significant more or a significant amount of work that needs to be done, where some of them, it may be simply they need to get a new roof or update their roof. Some just have a few windows that they may need to repair in that. Fortunately, they're not all in the same thing, but from a fairness standpoint, my objective is to basically get every building, you know, communicate to them and get some of the minimum maintenance taken care of. And as I said the last meeting, that could be a year, it could be 2 years in that, because obviously we have a lot of buildings.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
How does public safety figure into this? Because some of these windows, I haven't gone up and inspected them closely, but I've seen windows fall out of buildings in the downtown area before.
Yeah.
And the hose tower, I worry about that. If that collapses, that presents
A hazard to humans.
to the
Yeah.
public. I mean,
Right, and that's why it's, you know, it's my goal to try to literally get to every building in that, to make sure that, you know, that is happening, because there's some that simply is maybe just a few windows.
Well,
You know,
let's
that are-
move,
oh,
we'll move to, I think the next item is
We need to- we
the
need
Second
to-
Street, so let's
We need
finish
to-
the
we need
motion
to
We
on
got a
this
motion
one.
and a second on.
Oh, yeah, we got a
Need
motion,
to
or no,
vote.
we don't have a who did the second?
Nobody, I tried to, but then I had.
No, you got the motion, I have Phil as the motion.
No, I got out of order.
Yeah, or,
Yeah, but we need a second,
Yeah.
is what we need.
Yes, we do. I'll second.
okay, second, Valerie, okay. Jason Wells,
Yes.
Nathan Turner,
Yes.
Valerie Duncan,
yes.
Phil Nichols,
Yes.
okay, and Maneka Gibbs.
Yes.
Okay, that one passes 5-0.
Okay,
sure
now,
why I
now
just
we
said
can
yes.
move. Okay, next item up for discussion, number 8, HPC application number 25-009, discussion and potential action on a request for the approval of a minimum maintenance plan for a building located at 111 South Second Street, which is the old fire station. Staff report.
Yeah, again, as indicated, this is the same as the other one, or the other one where the applicant isn't here, but the main form of information that we were looking for on this was to have a structural analysis of the tower in the buildings by a licensed structural engineer, because that was going to set forth kind of the prioritizing the minimum maintenance plan, because if the foundation in that is the most critical part, obviously we need to worry about that versus a few of the windows. So based on kind of the action that you that you took on the previous one, I would put this one as a 30-day window to get us that information, and then if not, obviously we will.
Well, we already gave him 30 days.
True. I mean, if you want to just leave this one as is and say he's not compliant, that's fine.
I think he's not compliant.
Okay.
He is not compliant. We asked for that report.
Case, unfortunately.
Yeah, then at this point, we can basically have it tabled to a date to be determined. So at some point, hopefully, he'll come back in with the information we need, and then we can, you know, take it up from there. Or he can come back with a whole new plan.
So are these, I'm confused here. We have the historic firehouse and the historic, and then, okay, facing west, and the so all in the same. So are you suggesting to focus on the hose tower?
No, the building as well. The hose tower is one, but basically the building and the hose tower.
I like what's
Yeah.
listed, you should have to do what's listed.
Yeah.
So is this 3 citations on face, on
What you should have to do.
the firehouse and then?
No, it'd be just
The
one, because it would be
problem
per the property.
Oh, okay.
These
Yeah.
things,
So one
visually
for
looking
both.
at
Yeah.
it, it does need to be
Yeah.
done, but that's just looking at it from the outside.
Oh, I know.
We don't know
I'm
about
very,
the inside,
well,
right? And this hose house cannot come down.
No.
No.
This-
Agreed.
Absolutely.
We cannot
We
allow
all
for
agree.
this hose house to
No,
come
we
down.
all agree with
No.
that.
And isn't there, as I remember from last month, was it you or somebody else who, in whose opinion the hose tower is
I think it was Daryl.
in really bad shape?
I think it was.
Yes.
Oh, and yeah, even in mine, you know, I obviously didn't get into it, but just going there and taking a look in that, it is, you know, it looks in serious shape. And the building as a whole looks like it has, again, foundation or structural issues.
Very concerning.
Yeah, yeah, and it's kind of the same thing. There's no use in fixing the roof or fixing some windows if the foundation's gonna collapse.
Right.
Yeah.
The tower part?
In the rest of the building as well, especially the original building. The one story probably isn't as bad, but the original fire station building, the two-story, yeah, from the back, it looks pretty bad.
Yeah, I believe that's been used for storage since he's
Yeah.
owned
Yeah,
it.
I believe that's right.
yeah.
I'd sure hate to lose that tower. There's probably only a few of those in the country.
No,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is one
Yeah.
of only.
And that was the main reason that was put on basically the endangered list by the state because of the significance of the tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin on a motion on this.
Well, we're gonna have to go with any enforcement that you have at your power. Dan.
Yeah, because obviously,
We don't
he's
have
going
systems.
to, I'm going to
We don't
again
have
send an
systems.
email and communicate to him what transpired tonight and, let him know that on this, that's what we're waiting for. There'll be a citation coming, but there's, that's what he needs to provide us because again, moving forward and anything else doesn't make sense.
What is the most reasonable, shortest amount of time for him to do what we've asked him to do, to come back?
Well, again, the engineer, I thought 30 days was plenty.
Plenty.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, obviously, we need something done
yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
So is 10 days?
Yeah, I would say 10 days or 2 weeks, because like some, it may be hard to get him, get an engineer in a day
Well,
or
and
two.
if he
but-
can't get an engineer, he needs to come show us he can't get
Yes.
an engineer and talk
Yes.
to you.
No,
We
and
have plenty of
communicate.
engineers.
Yeah.
But, there are plenty that we
Yes.
could
Yes,
recommend or call with him in the office to be available.
yes.
And
He-
if that doesn't happen in 10 days, then
Citation.
Yeah,
An
okay,
an
I'm fine with
additional, so he
Yeah.
should receive a citation on this for not providing the information we asked for to begin with.
No,
that. Okay, I'm good, hold on.
Well, I didn't.
No,
You're saying it again?
I didn't know if you wanted to give him 10 days to get the analysis and then a citation, or just go with the citation.
I say give him the 10 days.
Okay.
That shows good faith on our part.
Yeah, okay, I'm just making sure.
I was
Yeah,
gonna do
Yeah,
both.
okay,
I agree.
all right.
I mean, this one is the only one we asked for him to get any kind of information
Yeah.
on from an engineer.
And, it was the building that concerns me the most.
It is a
Yeah.
huge
So this
concern.
inspection for the host tower and the
Building
facing west
itself.
building
Yeah,
itself, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay,
And we-
10
he gets
days.
10 days, that's the
10 days,
motion.
yeah.
Bill.
That's the motion.
That's the motion.
Jason,
10
you're up.
days.
Did you make the motion?
No, you're up.
I make the
Somebody's
motion.
up.
All right, and the second
I
is,
struggled through the last one.
okay, and the second is,
Second.
oh, all right, Nathan, all right.
I'll speak up.
Jason Wells,
Yes.
Nathan Turner,
Yes.
Valerie Duncan,
Yes.
Phil Nichols.
Yes.
Mineka Gibbs.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, and finally, the Lentz Building.
Oh,
And again, this was the one where he was to have provided, well, there was a
Same thing,
broken
a
window
window.
that was to be fixed,
Yes.
which I didn't see that it got fixed in that. And then all the other windows were to be inspected, and then based on those was kind of like the Victor Building, was to formulate a more defined maintenance plan for those windows, which obviously would prioritize the worst ones to the least worst in that.
Okay, so I would have to say he needs to replace all of the broken windows on the upper floors of the back rear-facing building.
And do you want to do a 60-day period like the Victor?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
I think so. Does anybody have a different opinion on that?
I'm comfortable with that.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter what order, if he does the Victor and then this one, it's
Right.
still,
Now, the lens is facing north,
and
right?
that means complete.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would
Yeah, that
actually,
means
that would actually be the north side of the building. It's all good. It's all right.
Yes, so again, this would be all of the broken windows, those need to be completed.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to,
We do anything on the
on the front side.
facing, yeah, on the front side?
On the front side, I would like for him, anything broken.
Yeah, I'd
He
like
needs
all
to
the broken
replace
windows.
Any
I
broken
agree.
window,
Yeah.
whether
I
it's
agree.
the carnival glass in the front.
Right.
Broken windows in the back, anything broken, replaced.
Yeah,
It's a
that should be the
safety
priority.
hazard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Safety perspective.
it is a safety hazard. Especially, even if it's an alley facing back.
Yeah, oh,
You know,
absolutely.
The alley is a right of way. Everyone can walk
people
through
walk
it,
through,
drive
yeah.
through it. It's public space.
Yep.
So,
Oh, my God.
anything broken, it needs to be replaced within 60 days.
Got it. We have a motion?
I so move.
Okay.
Oh, I like that. I second.
Second by
That's how
Nichols.
pro does it right there. I so move.
Jason Wells,
Yes.
Nathan Turner,
Yes.
Valerie Duncan,
Yes.
Phil Nichols.
Yes.
And Maneka Gibbs.
Yes,
All right,
and
5-0.
he's still to provide everything requested in the previous meeting within 30 days. For the next meeting, we'd still want to see.
Yes, no, I'm gonna make sure, right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, that was disappointing. I didn't want to
Yeah.
have to do that.
No,
At
don't ever
all.
want to do that, but
Not at all.
it's like
You
a
know,
kiddo that doesn't get home on curfew.
Well, but
you know.
it's their private property, like you're talking about,
Yeah,
you know,
it
and,
is.
and you want to ensure that they are taking it to heart as much as the rest of us. It's beautiful, it is part of our downtown, it's what brings people here, and if we don't maintain them also and help them maintain them, then they will not be here.
Agreed.
So, all right, are there any other staff comments?
I just wanted to thank Maneka for her time.
This
This
is
is
it.
her last meeting.
The last one.
Yes.
Why, yes.
Yes, this is her
Yes.
last meeting, so I wanted to thank her for her time and efforts
So do we
on the
kick the
commission.
future mayor off and move her in his seat, or what happens?
That'll probably essentially happen because,
Okay.
yes,
All right.
Adam will no longer be the
Believe-
ex officio,
If that's where Adam
correct?
wants me to
Yeah.
be, that's where I will.
You gonna start drawing tattoos
Yeah.
on your arms and stuff?
In the past, the council has usually put a person who has worked on or worked with the HPC as the ex officio, so, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Maneka's very knowledgeable. It'd be good to
yes.
have her in that position.
So anyway, I just wanted to thank Maneka for her time.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I have appreciated working with every single one of you. Phil, I appreciate you having an open mind to this as it is deeper than just our code.
Right, right.
And just like everybody else that's on this board, it's a sticky one to sit on.
Yeah. No, I never used to get text messages on boards I set on, until I sat on this one. Now I get text messages.
Yes. We do try to be as fair as possible.
Sure,
You know, as much as, you know, the rules don't really give much fairness.
Well, it's tough, you know, you're balancing, I mean, there's just a lot of things on this, but hey, it's important.
There is, and it is important, and I really appreciate you guys, so I have enjoyed being here and enjoyed working on this committee. I'll still be here and just in a cheer on and hopefully a good resource for information.
Good.
Down at the NC, so I do appreciate it. Are there any other commissioner comments?
Oh, I'm not a commissioner, but,
I was just looking up and down the road.
oh, okay. No, I was, no, this is my last meeting as ex officio, and this will be my last, I probably won't attend all of these now. And I've been involved with HP for like 6 years now, so.
Oh, 6 years,
Yeah,
wow.
been a while, yeah. So I was on this commission, I chaired this commission, and now ex officio, moving on to different things, but I enjoy it. I appreciate every one of you volunteering your time and coming to do this. It means a lot. Not to end it on a sad note, but you know, I still hurt from the fiddle shop. Like I still feel that. Like it's still
Absolutely.
like
And
it
it's
still
for
hurts.
rent. She has a
And
rent.
like I don't know if I'll ever get over it. And this for the last month or two, I've really felt like it feels like we might lose some more, not to be like over dramatic. And so it really saddens me with what we're seeing. So I appreciate what we're putting through right now. I appreciate you guys looking at it and being concerned as much as I am to help preserve these. And again, not just for the historicity, but also for the safety element too. I mean, they're equal, you know what I mean? And they're both real. So I appreciate it. And tune in tomorrow. I will be sworn in as the 54th mayor, and Maneka will be on city council. So that's all I have. Thank you.
God save us all.
Yeah, sure.
I appreciate it. Anything else? Thank you, Adam. I've appreciated you on this commission as well. All right, if that's all,
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Second.
we're in. Adjourned it is. Thank you.